Hi. So when we talk about Disneyland, besides its dreamlike characters, it also have a very super powerful legal team that people joke about it online saying, if you get lost in the desert, don't worry, you just draw a Mickey Mouse on the sand. Disney's lawyer will find you before the rescue team does. But something strange happened recently in China. Two Gen Z law graduates decided to take on this legal adventure. No money, no high-level connections, no superpower behind them. Just a $3 filing fee, but a very low tolerance for being pushed around. One of them, she already won. She forced Shanghai Disneyland to rewrite a rule that has been benefiting millions of visitors. And the other guy, he just turned down a private settlement from Disney's legal team. His reason is a private settlement doesn't fix the problem. He wants to remove that unreasonable clause. So today I want to share these two stories with you and also talk about what happened to a generation that start to operate very differently than the previous ones. So picture this in your head. You are at Disneyland. There's a brand new Zootopia land. It just opened, it was crowded, it was beautiful, and your family is ready to have fun there. While everyone is walking in, a guy stopped. He pulls out his phone and he starts to read the entry terms. Most people would never do that, but he does. And there he finds out a clause saying that by entering this area, you grant Disney the right to capture your image, your voice, your likeness, and Disney has the rights to use them commercially worldwide. No extra notification or compensation needed. He thinks about that for a moment. He officially asked Disney to change this rule. He is, of course, refused. He goes home and he files a lawsuit. Disney's response actually came very fast and typical. Private settlement offer, clean and quiet. This is how it always works. A large institution facing individual frictions. It writes a check. Then the problem disappears. But the clause stays there for the next millions of visitors. A lot of people told him publicly, you filed a $3 case. Disney is offering you cash. You already won. You can just take it. And honestly, that's not wrong, right? Most people would just take it. But he said no. His reason was simple. A private settlement just make him go away, not the clause. And if he goes away, the next families walk in will have to live with it. A clause that many families never notice. And that one decision, refusing money on the table, is the whole story. And let's now go back a few years earlier, because this is a case that has been ended. A law student going to Disneyland to spend her winter holiday. She wanted to enjoy some good times there, right? She walks up to the entrance. She brings her water and snacks. Nothing unusual. The security guy at the entrance stopped her and searched her bag. She was given two options. She can either throw away the food or pay $10 to store the food temporarily. She has to throw away the food to save money. And then she goes inside the park. She doesn't really enjoy the time there because she was getting even more angry for what's happening. And she filed a lawsuit on the way out. She has no legal experience. She was just a student back then. But she took on a company with the most powerful legal team on this planet. She invites two of her classmates to work on this case together with her. They have a good faith. And eventually, under the legal and social pressure, Shanghai Disneyland voluntarily changed the rule. So now outside food is allowed. That rule is no more there. And you know what's happening later is, a few years later, that student, that girl, she became an independent lawyer, and now she still gets messages from strangers thanking her on this case. Not because she won this case, but because now families who don't want to spend $30 on a lunch, now they can bring their own food into the park. They don't have to spend 30% higher than outside food. She threw away her snacks so that millions of visitors don't have to. And there's a meme going around Chinese social media saying Gen Z is here to fix the workplace. They leave on time, they push back unpaid overtime. They ask why when something doesn't make sense. Some older managers will say they are being arrogant, but I think what's actually happening is much simpler. The generation before them, I think this isn't just China. This is true almost universal. People grew up learning to work with the system. The calculation was the rules are rigid. The institutions and the systems are so powerful. We get what we can and keep peace with that. But Gen Z simply grew up with more information source and more conscious about their own rights, and also a much lower tolerance for the gap between what's officially true and what's actually happening. To them, an unfair rule isn't something they should hold on to. It's a bug that should be fixed. That's why turning down a settlement isn't irrational. It's just a different calculation. The long-term cost of leaving a bad rule there is higher than the short-term gain of taking some money. These two students are not outlier. They are early, actually. In 10 and 20 years, this generation is going to become the judge, the policymakers, the heads of every industry. But we should know the rule doesn't change through revolution. They change only because the people who care about the integrity of the rules eventually grow into the positions where they can rewrite the rules. That's actually what matters. So what do you take from this? Because I don't think this is just a story about two law students. I think there are things that apply to all of us. So first, always be clear on your standards. Most of us always have a vague feeling about something might be wrong, but we never made it concrete. What are the things you truly don't accept? In a contract, at work, at a person, or at a customer? Mark them down as a reference point, because if you don't know about your bottom lines, you will have to discover it through the hard ways, and that will be really uncomfortable. You will only find out your bottom lines when you already crossed them. And second, when someone or something violates your standards, be smart about how you should push back, not just shout. These two law students, they didn't win because they are angry. They win because they are prepared. They know the process, they used the right channel, and they stayed very calm. It's a combination, clear on the principles, and be very disciplined on the actions. It's much more powerful than a social media complaint. Emotion tells you what's wrong. Knowing the process is actually how you can do with it. So look it up before you really need them. What actually happens when you need this help? Most people have no idea about this. So find them out when everything is still fine. So when something isn't, you are not starting from zero. Third, super critical, don't wait for the right age or the right moment. So there is no version of you in the future who will suddenly find it easier to stand up for something. The students who sued Disney, they were still in school. They had no experience, no guaranteed success. She just decided that the cost of doing nothing is higher than the cost of trying. This calculation is available to all of us right now. The world we want to live in today, it doesn't exist by waiting. It is to be built by the people who decided to stop accepting the version they were handed today. And in the end, Disney's legal team doesn't get weaker. The law hasn't changed. What changed is really the people who's willing to read the fine print and say, no, I don't like this and I don't accept. I need to do something with it. You obviously don't need to sue anyone. You just need to know where your bottom line is and trust it, even when the outcome is not guaranteed. I'll see you in the next video.